Ronnie. How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Good. Good. I'm doing well. Sort of a unique question. Wondering whether the team, maybe the offensive linemen, are doing anything interesting or unique to promote team bonding. Maybe playing video games, weightlifting contests, anything like that.
I wish more of the O-line played video games because I'd be totally for it. But that hasn't been the case. But, I think we've been just keeping in close communication. We haven't had any, like contests of any sort, but we've been keeping close communication and just making sure each other and each other's families are all right. And we have a trust within each other that, people are still working out, taking care of their business. And yeah, it's pretty much been like that.
Okay.
Hey, Ronnie. Hey, Ronnie, Todd Karpovich from Sports Illustrated. Thanks for doing this. Have you gotten any updates from your agent as far as an extension with the Ravens or any news on that front?
We've been in talks, for the last couple of years now. So I'm comfortable with where we are in that regard. So, I mean, when the time comes, it'll come.
Thank you.
I'm Jimena Lugo La Torre from WDCN, La Nueva 87.7 FM. How are you today, Ronnie? And it's a pleasure to having you here. And what are your feelings about what happened to George Floyd in Minnesota?
So what? I'm sorry.
What are your feelings about what happened to George Floyd in Minnesota?
Well, I mean, it's just, it's a constant, thing going on in America. And, it's something that, obviously it's pretty easy to see what's happened. And, hopefully justice prevails in this case. It's really sad to see. I really feel bad for him and his family and his loved ones. So just keeping them in my prayers.
Hey, Ronnie, Childs Walker with the Baltimore Sun. We haven't gotten to talk to you really since Marshall Yonder retired. I'm wondering, with his retirement, do you kind of feel like you're more of the standard bearer in the offensive line room now? I mean, do you feel that guys will look to you more?
Yeah, I mean, I think guys, even when Marshall was there, they looked to me, in that a different sense than they did Marshall. And I think guys definitely, or have been more open to asking me questions and letting me take in that leadership role for them.
Hey, Ronnie, Pete Gilbert here with WBAL, and you go through what we've gone through the last several months here. Has your perspective changed on just kind of a role and approach to the team and to your role and what it means to be where you are and have these possibilities relative to what we're going on in the rest of the world?
Yeah, I mean, I've always maintained the same mindset when it came to what kind of role I wanted on the team. That's just to be a constant leader, someone that's reliable and that everyone can count on, whether it's on the field or off the field. So if guys, and then that requires being, very emotionally and mentally stable. So when things like this go on in the world, and if you have some guys that want to talk about it, I try to be that person that's there for the team, and just try to be that stable mind for everyone.
Ronnie, this is Jameson from ESPN. I know you said with the contract, when the time comes, it'll come. Do you feel that something could come this year in terms of an extension? And a lot of people were wondering, what was your reaction when you saw the numbers come out for Laramie Tunsil?
My first reaction was I was just super happy that he got what he got, first of all, and I was happy that because he deserved it. I felt in my heart of hearts that this position is definitely one of the top 2-3 hardest positions on the field. So for him to get respected like that with how much he got paid made me feel very happy for him because he deserves it.
Hey, Ronnie, it's Mark Viviano here, Ronnie. How you doing, man? Question for you. Given that Marshall's moved on and you're going to have some different pieces in on that offensive line, this time you guys would usually start to get to know one another. Is there going to be kind of a crash course coming up here, or do you think it's going to be a difficult thing to recover from?
I mean, it's definitely going to be a crash course, like you said. Everyone's going to, especially, you know, the new guys, the younger guys, with the type of offense we run, very detail oriented. It's going to be a crash course for a lot of people. And luckily, we have a good amount of more than half of our returners coming back. So they are well versed in this offense. And I'm happy that I could be one of those people that already knows what's going on. I'm not kind of coming into it new. So, and there are going to be guys that are going to have a lot of questions coming in. And I think everyone's going to have questions, not just the O-line. So it's going to be just, you know, getting guys up to date and just, you know, it's going to be part of the process.
Hey, Ronnie, this is Sean Stepner from WMAR ABC Baltimore. So what do you think of the drafted offensive linemen, Phillips and Bredesen? And I mean, from what you can tell via virtual meetings and stuff, how are they adjusting to even that?
I've heard, everything that I've seen and heard is those guys have been doing well, and you know, in the virtual workouts as well, they've been showing up and getting the job done. So I haven't heard any negative reports yet. So it's all been good so far.
Hey, Ronnie, this is Aaron Kasnitz at Penn Live. Thanks for taking the time today. I know you've been an NFLPA rep in the past. Whenever, you know, discussions about returning to play happen, what are the important things to you, and how do you see those deliberations kind of going down with the Players Association League?
Well, the biggest thing to me is the player safety. I know people want to see sports, and I know people, you know, that's very important to, you know, their well-being, you know, mentally. And I'm all for that. But first it comes, you know, the players' health and safety and their families' health and safety as well. So people need to be aware it's not just players that are going to be okay if they get it, but, you know, they have families they have to go home to every day. And we all, as a union, we just all want to be on the same page, all 32 teams. We want to make sure everyone's following the same guidelines and taking the same precautions, because, you know, as much as we all want to see football back and all the sports back, you know, we love our families just as much. We want to be just as safe.
Hey, Ronnie, this is Kevin Richardson with the Baltimore Sun. Have the league or the Ravens reached out to you guys and say when you're going to be returning to the facility?
No, they don't have a set date yet, because, you know, it's not just one facility that has to open. It's every facility that has to open.
Hey, Ronnie, it's Ryan Mink with the Ravens. You were talking a little bit about the offense earlier, but I'm just curious, you know, the offense obviously has to evolve every season and every offseason. Obviously, it's not as big a change as you guys had last offseason when Greg took over, but have you seen tweaks from this year's offense with Greg?
Yeah, there's always little tweaks here and there, but, you know, for the most part, you know, we're not deviating from the plan. You know, we're still who we are. But I think I always expect tweaks here and there every year, because, you know, everyone's always trying to get a little bit better and make something a little bit better, and that really makes a difference. So yeah, there's a little bit tweaking going on.
Hey, Ronnie, this is Kyle Barber from Baltimore Beatdown. At time being able to block for both Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson, what have been the biggest differences in that transition now that you've had a couple of seasons of both?
I mean, they're just completely different players when it comes to mobility. I think that's probably the biggest difference. And where, you know, one guy is going to be here in a set place for most likely, or this other guy, he's either going to be here or he could be 20 yards the other way, you know. So it's different in that regard. But I mean, my mentality when I go out and I play, I don't really think about, you know, where Lamar's going. I'm just thinking about blocking.
Ronnie, Pete Gilbert here again. And as you were, you know, rated the top pass blocker in the NFL, first team All Pro, how important is it to you that the next contract reflects that? And also, did Lamar get you new sunglasses that he broke at the Pro Bowl?
Lamar did not give me new sunglasses, but luckily for him, Oakley had a couple more pairs, so I was able to get that. And then what would you say? my contract. What was it?
Yeah, how important is it that it reflects that you're the best pass blocker in the NFL right now. You were the first team All-Pro, and you helped anchor the top rushing attack in the NFL. How important is it that the contract reflect that?
Yeah, I definitely want to get paid my value and what I'm worth or what I feel I'm worth. So I think, that part of it's important, but at the end of the day, I don't think money is the most important thing to me.
Ronnie, Dave Ginsburg again. Were you on hand when Ray Lewis and Ed Reed sort of offered their points of inspiration, I guess, during the team meetings? And if so, was it helpful, and did you get anything out of it?
Well, I mean, it was unfortunate in the Ray Lewis one. There's only 100 people that are allowed to be in, so wasn't able to hear much. But to hear some of the things that Reed said were, very inspirational, and kind of try to hold those things dear to heart and just remember them.
Thank you,
Ronnie. Bo Smolka with Press Box. I know the contract thing is going to be a story, and this is the third or fourth question related to it, but you just said money is not the most important thing to you. To your mind, what are the most important things in terms of your future?
Being healthy, being a good person. I try to think big picture about, things like that. And that's what I mean when I say money's not the most important thing to me. That's not really what drives me. That's not my motivation, so being the best, being the greatest, that's more what's important to me.
Kind of along those lines, Ronnie, last offseason, I know you really kind of took a different approach to your fundamentals and offseason training to be the best you could be, and it obviously paid off. What's the plan for this offseason? How are you kind of training, and in what ways are you bettering yourself as a player?
I mean, the plan hasn't changed. I'm still focused on the fundamentals and just trying to perfect those as much as possible, and just work hard every day, and just, I don't think the plan really changed. I think it's still the same plan.
Hey, Ronnie, Mark from Channel 13 again. I know you're a big soccer fan. Bundesliga's kicked off over in Germany. They're playing in front of empty stadiums. The thought of doing that, if it comes to that, how would that set with you, and would you be prepared to do that?
It's kind of hard to imagine right now playing in empty stadiums, just given, the amount of games that we have is kind of limited comparative to other sports. So those atmospheres are, usually very important and play more roles than other sports in that regard, I guess. But it would definitely be different. So, when that time comes, we'll see what happens. I really don't know, what my thoughts would be if that was actual reality.
Ronnie, this is Jameson from ESPN again. Is there a challenge in being one of the Super Bowl favorites and how the Ravens, they're likely going to be a favorite right now in every single game you play? Is there a challenge in having kind of that target on your back?
Oh, I think there's always a challenge when you have a target on your back, and that just comes with the territory. Everyone's going to bring their best game when they play you. So you just have to be ready for that. And if you're not ready for that, then you really don't deserve to be the best. So that just comes with the territory.
Hey, Ronnie, Childs with the Baltimore Sun again. We hear about the receivers going down to work out with Lamar to sort of work on chemistry. Is there any sort of equivalent that the offensive line can do without getting together physically, or is it difficult to really do that if you're not in person?
Super difficult to really do that as an offensive line without being together. And I really want to bring everyone together. I mean, but I know it's pretty much impossible right now with, the Rona and everything going on. So definitely in the future, that's something like I would want to do, is bring us all together to be able to do drills and just work on things, because I feel like that's very important. And yeah, it's just really hard to get those type of things without really being physically there to really correct the technique and the little things, because that's what really matters.
Hey, Ronnie, it's Aaron Kasnitz again. You mentioned a couple times virtual workouts and stuff with the virtual offseason program. Can you take us through what those are sort of like as somebody on the screen with you the whole time? I mean, what are those workouts like for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's usually someone on the screen with you the whole time, and a lot of bands, a lot of free weights, and then the conditioning is, taking the phone out to the field and pretty much aiming it up so they can see you run. Yeah, it's just, it's makeshift things, but I think they're trying the best they can. They're doing a good job.
Hey, Ronnie, Kyle Barber again for Baltimore Beatdown. What was the best advice you received as a rookie, and what have you been able to offer to the incoming rookie offensive lineman?
I think the best advice I received as a rookie was the rest doesn't stop. Like, I mean, you can't. I used to like rest in the off season. I kind of just don't really rest that much. I just work out and I rest though. And I get plenty of rest. Don't get me wrong, but like I try not to just not do anything for long periods of time. And that didn't really set in for me, until like year 3 or so. It was actually told by me from Olin Kreutz, his good friend, one of the all-time best centers in my opinion. And I was in Hawaii working out, or what was I doing? I was coaching an All-American high school game, but I was like, just chilling, just vacationing. He was like, "This isn't like rest time. Like the rest stops when you retire." And I was like, "What?" So I get it now. I really do understand what he was saying. I don't, and I really remember it. So, and I would try to explain that to not just offense linemen, but every young player.
Ronnie, this is Jeff Zrebeck from The Athletic. There's been a lot of cases over the years where players entering their contract year don't want to talk about their contract once the season starts. In your mind, would you want negotiations to be done by a certain period, or are you comfortable it taking as long as it's going to take?
Honestly, right now, I not really thinking about it. I think I would probably have a better answer for that. Like probably when if training camp starts, if it starts, So I'm kind of like in no rush when it comes to that right now, and I'm not really worried about it per se. So that's just kind of my mentality towards it at the moment.